Familiar voice to Siouxland radio listeners for 45 years, and now the voice of Mark Hahn has been silenced following a medical emergency that took his life. KTIV's Larry Wentz tells us how this Pittsburgh native and Steelers fan found a home here in Siouxland.
She says state officials are letting companies
His deep,
and
crisp
cities
voice
sign up
was
on
a familiar
waiting
sound
list
for
and
years
then
on Sioux City
lawmakers
Radio,
set
most
aside
recently at
$10 million this year
KSCJ
for the effort
and the
with
Powell
the
broadcasting
legislature
stations in
approval
Sioux
of the
City.
request.
Hahn began his long career here in 1980 after every intention of quitting the business, according to former co-worker Mark Hahn.
And actually, he had left the Rapid City stations and was going to head back to Pittsburgh, his hometown. But he stopped here in Sioux City, and Ted offered him a job, and boom, he got a job.
KWSL's Ted Mann sure knew what he was getting in Mark Hahn. KSCJ's Justin Barker grew up listening to Mark when he was a rock and roll DJ.
I always called him Funk for Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. I changed it down to Funk.
Many listeners may best remember Mark for his very successful morning collaboration with co-host Rita Bettine on KG95.
And so Mark and I were the first male-female DJ team in this tri-state area.
It was a male-dominated profession at the time.
And so they would tease me and do all kinds of funny things and pranks on me, and him and I just kept picking at each other.
People always thought they were married, I think, but they weren't.
A changing radio business led Hahn moving across town to KSCJ and the Powell stations in 2009. Powell General Manager Denny Bullock says Mark was constantly concerned about the details of almost everything.
I probably have burned up 2 or 3 copy machines since I've known Mark, and I don't know how many trees died while Mark was employed here.
Barker sums up Hahn's personality as that of an old-school gentleman.
His way of doing things was to make sure that nobody was ever forgotten, that people got a Christmas card or people got a text message, or all the ladies in the building were talking about how every Mother's Day he would send them a text.
And Bettine says despite his strong voice and personality, Mark Hahn always had a huge heart for people.
And I never heard him say a cross word about anyone. He just was just a wonderful, wonderful guy and a best friend.
Mark Hahn is survived by his wife Denise and 2 sons. A service for Mark is pending. Of course, we'll bring you that information when it becomes available.